Now let's just move on further towards the question number 3rd, which says that in a parallelogram A, B, C, D, E, F are the midpoints of the sides A, B and C, D. So let us suppose if I'm just drawing the figure of this particular question. So as per it, it says that we have this particular as a parallelogram, which is A, B, C, D, and further it says we have the midpoint as E and we have the midpoint as nothing but F, and further it says that they are the midpoint, show that AF, show that the line segment AF and EC trisect the diagonal, which is nothing but BD. So let us suppose if I'm just joining this particular diagonal. So after joining these two particular points, it says that it is trisecting. It is trisecting. What does it mean? Let us suppose if I'm calling it as nothing but P, if I'm calling it as nothing but Q. So what we have to show over here, we have to show that DP is equal to PQ is equal to QB. We just need to show that this side is equal to this and this is equal to this. Now let us suppose if I am just starting with the ABCD being a parallelogram. Since we know that ABCD is a parallelogram, we know that it is a parallelogram. It implies that AB is parallel to CD. AB should definitely be parallel to CD, which also implies that AE is also parallel to CF. Why so? Because the parts of the parallels are also parallel. They are the parts of the parallels. So if the whole is parallel to the whole side of the other, then their parts should also be parallel to each other. So hence it means that AF is parallel to AE is parallel to CF. Furthermore, we know that ABCD is a parallelogram, which implies that AB should also is equal to CD, because we know that the opposite sides are equal. So if I'll just take a half on both of its sides, means half of AB should be equal to the half of CD, then we can say that AE is actually coming out to be equal to CF, because half of CD is nothing but definitely the CF. So it implies that from the equation number 1 and 2, from the equation number 1 and 2, what can we say? We can say that, let us suppose if I'm just moving on further, so we can say from 1 and 2, we can say that one pair of quadrilateral is equal and parallel. It implies that AECF is a parallelogram. It is nothing but a parallelogram. Because we are getting one pair of quadrilateral as nothing but parallel and equal, then definitely it is nothing but a parallelogram. And if it is a parallelogram, then what we can say? We can say that AE is nothing but is equal to CF, and further we can say that AF is nothing but parallel to EC. So this is exactly the thing that we already know in the equation number 2. What we are getting from here is that nothing but AF is parallel to EC. We are getting, if it is a parallelogram, then AF is definitely parallel to EC. Since AECF is a parallelogram, then its other side is also parallel to the other side. So this is nothing but AF is also parallel to EC. Moreover, if we are just talking about this being parallel to this one, then we can say that PF is also parallel to QC, since parts of parallels are also parallel, because we know that PF is actually nothing but a part of AF, and QC is actually nothing but a part of EC. If AF is parallel to EC, then it implies PF is also parallel to QC. Now if PF is coming out to be parallel to QC, then what can we say about the triangle DQC? So let us suppose if I'm talking about in triangle DQC, we can say that since PF is parallel to QC, from equation number, that is, suppose if I'm calling it as 3, from equation number 3 we have. So what can we say over here? That if this is nothing but parallel to this one, so this P is definitely nothing but, it implies P is the midpoint. P is the midpoint of DQ. So why we are saying this particular fact that P is the midpoint of DQ? Since we know that a line joining a line, or we can say that a line which is drawn from line, that is, suppose if I'm just writing drawn from the midpoint, drawn from the midpoint of one side of a triangle parallel to another side, bisects the third side of the triangle. So using the concept of the converse of the midpoint theorem, we can say that since we have F as nothing but the midpoint, and we have PF which is parallel to QC, and we have F is the midpoint, and we have F is the midpoint of DC. It is already given to us in the question. It implies that P is the midpoint of DQ, and if P is the midpoint, it implies that DP is equal to PQ. DP is nothing but is equal to PQ. So let us suppose if I am calling it as nothing but the equation number 4. Moreover, we can say that in a triangle BAP, E is the midpoint of AB. So a line drawn from the midpoint of one side of a triangle is being parallel, one side of a triangle, we can say parallel to the other side, parallel to the another side, bisects the third side of triangle. So using this particular concept, we can say that Q is the midpoint. Q is the midpoint of BP. Since we know that QE is nothing but parallel to AP. It is nothing but parallel to AP. QE is nothing but parallel to AP. We can say this thing because again we know that PF is parallel to QC. We know that PF is parallel to QC. So we also know that AP is also parallel to EQ. So let us suppose if I'll also write it over here that along with it we also know that AP is also parallel to EQ because they are again the parts. They both are the parts. They both are nothing but the parts of the parallels. They are also parallel. So hence QE is also parallel to AP. So Q is the midpoint of BP. If it is the midpoint of BP, so it implies PQ is equal to QB. So this is nothing but, let us suppose, the fifth part. So hence it implies that DP is equal to PQ is equal to QB from equation number 4 and 5 we are getting. From equation number 4 and 5 we are getting that DP is equal to PQ which is equal to QB, and this is exactly what we have to prove over here. So hence it is proved that a line segment which is actually joining a line segment AF and EC is actually trisecting the diagonal BD. This is nothing but a whole diagonal, which is nothing but BD. So this is nothing but all about the question number 3. And with this question, this is nothing but the end of our chapter, which is nothing but called as a quadrilateral. I hope all the concepts that are related with this chapter are all clear to you. Now do practice more and more question all by yourself.